That was a damn fine movie.
Yes.
I don't really ever start these off with just saying that. But hi everyone, it's me, Aaron.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is our post-Geekout reaction for Moana. We just got back from seeing it. It was our Thanksgiving treat to ourselves. And for anybody out there who has never seen a post-Geekout reaction before, it is not a review. I am going to do a review of this because this is a big release. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to it. And in the review, I'm going to sit down and actually think about everything that I want to say, actually type it all out, come up with the script. This is just our open and honest thoughts about the thing that we just watched, and that does include spoilers. So if you don't want anything spoiled for you, tune out now. But for everybody else, I gotta say, I really enjoyed this, but at the same time, that's not a surprise. It's not like I went into this. Like, people kind of get on me for liking the Marvel films so much, and like, oh, you're a Marvel fanboy. It's like, I don't think I am. I think I'm just a Disney fanboy. Like, people keep saying, wow, how does Marvel have such a good track record with all their movies? They're owned by Disney. Disney has a damn good track record when they really care about a franchise. And I stopped and I realized, yeah, just look at Disney's animated films. They haven't, like, Rotten Tomatoes recently ranked every single one of the Disney animated films. The last one of them that actually got, like, a bad review was in 1995. It was Pocahontas, which has, like, a 54%, which is still more than half of the people liked it.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought, like, Home on the Range would be lower.
Oh, yeah, you know what, that one I completely forgot. Like, that one was...
That's the one everyone forgets because it is such a...
Well, I forgot when I was looking at that list because it was so far down the bottom. I was like, okay, well, I just completely skipped it. I was like, that had to be one of the older ones. Yeah, okay, so, but that was 2004. Yeah. So still, 12 years ago. 12 years of a pretty damn good streak. So it's like, yeah, Disney knows what they're doing, especially when it comes to their princess films. For anybody who has not seen it and they don't care about spoilers, so you're still watching, Moana, it's a princess story from Disney. It is this young girl. She is the daughter of the chieftain, and her island, she is slowly learning to fit into her role as daughter of the chieftain. She's so slowly learning, one day I am going to lead these people, which automatically I thought was different than most Disney princess films, because so many of them are, well, I don't like where I am right now, I don't want to be in this position. In this one, she feels that way, but she understands the importance of her role. She understands why she needs to be the next chief, and we see that she's really good at it, which I thought was awesome, that it wasn't like she was some bumbling kind of clumsy girl, which a lot of the Disney princesses have kind of been becoming. Like, I felt like Rapunzel was kind of clumsy, Anna was very clumsy. I like to see that she was very competent.
Yes.
She knew exactly what to do in her role as the chieftain's daughter.
Is it...
No, go ahead.
Stupid horn.
Yeah. It's so weird that we're recording this after midnight and yet there's still noise outside. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, it's actually, like, really nice to see a Disney princess actually doing their job.
That's... Wow, hold on, back up. Okay, so Anna, wait, which one was Anna? Was she the... Anna was the non-Iceman one.
Yeah,
okay, so...
Elsa was the one with the ice powers,
okay,
and she
the queen.
Yeah, she became queen, so that doesn't really count.
Yeah, so as far as princesses go, Anna wasn't doing it. Rapunzel didn't even know she was a princess. She was just trapped in there. Let's see, Tina, what was the Princess and the Frog one? What was her name?
Tiana?
Tiana, okay. She was very good at what she did, but she wasn't a princess until the very end of that film, which I actually think that is a damn fine, underrated Disney princess film.
Yes, I think so too.
That's actually, I think it's one of the better written ones.
Yes.
So let's see, what was the one before that? Because I remember before that, they had been on like a dry streak for their princess film. They hadn't done one in a while.
Yeah.
But, like... Belle wasn't really a princess. Ariel didn't want to do her job.
Jasmine didn't want to do her job.
Wow. This might be the first one in which they're like, no, I'm going to be a princess and I'm going to be a damn good princess.
Snow White probably would have done her job if she wasn't chased out by the evil queen.
Yeah, again, wasn't able to do it. It's like, in all the Disney princess films, you're either unable to do your job or you just don't want to do your job. This is the first one in which...
Or you get married and become a princess, so...
Yeah, there's some weird technicality.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I had not thought about that. But there is this legend of this demigod Maui, who he tried to steal the heart of the ocean, which is this little gem which has the ability to create life, and he was going to give it to man, but then it caused this huge plague to spread, and it spread from island to island, and everybody's like, well, that's just a story. However, one day that plague reaches Moana's island, and it starts to decay all their food. None of the fish come in anymore, so basically everyone in the village is going to die unless they do something, and so Moana has to set out. And she goes out on this little boat. She's never sailed out there before, but she discovers that her ancestors used to be voyagers. But her father had banned anyone from leaving the island, from going beyond the reef. And that's basically because the eye of the ocean, the heart of the ocean was stolen. Yes. There are now monsters. The waves are all so dangerous, like no one can go out there. So Moana now has to go out there by herself because she has been chosen by the ocean to go out there, and she finds Maui, the demigod, and together they go out there, reclaim his fish hook, which has the ability to transform him into other animals, and can also like pull up islands. Like it's just this, it's Thor's hammer basically. And then they have to go and return the eye. Sorry, why do I keep calling it the eye? The heart of the ocean.
You say heart of the ocean, I automatically think of Titanic because that was the name. Yeah. But it literally is the heart of the ocean. It's not like the name of a fancy jewel.
Yeah. But yeah, aside, it's a very simple story. And I will say, even though I really like this, I did have one complaint about, and speaking of Disney properties, it's a complaint that a lot of people have about the Marvel films, which is, man, they're really starting to get formulaic at this point. And, you know, I would say that for the origin movies, I think that when it comes to their sequels, they each get a little different. But for the origin movies, I can agree with people on that. And in this one, there came a moment in which I went, wow, this is a story of a strong-willed young girl and her animal sidekick setting out on an adventure in which they meet up with a guy. They don't get along at first, but then they slowly become friends. And then towards the end, there's a moment where they kind of split off from each other, but then they come back together. This really is just like Tangled and Frozen.
Yeah, I really hate to admit because I do really love this movie, and I also enjoy Tangled and Frozen, but they do seem a bit... Basically, it seems like the more recent princess movies, Disney princesses movies, seemed rather formulaic.
Yeah, this one, Tangled, Frozen, and also Princess and the Frog had that exact same formula of going out there, meeting up with a guy. They don't get along at first, but then they slowly get along, and then there's a problem and all that, and there's the animal sidekick thrown there. It's like, yeah, this really was... I'd say it's very similar to Tangled. Like, Tangled to me is the one that this resembles the most, simply because Maui is very similar to me to Flynn. That was his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, they're very similar.
Yeah, like, they're very boastful, and they're actually like hiding their self-consciousness.
But that being said, there are things that they do different in this one. That's the thing. In all four of those movies, they all have that exact same basic structure, but then there's different things down there. Like, you know, in Frozen, you've got the queen in there, and also at the end, it's the power of sisters coming together rather than like any kind of a romance. Or in Tangled, well, Tangled was pretty flat out basic. But in Princess and the Frog, you've got the whole thing that she's not an actual princess, and you've got that great twist there at the end, but also that the animal sidekicks, for once, they actually can talk to them. I thought that was a great thing to end there. And this one, I think that the big twist on is that the male and female characters that we follow, it's not a romance.
No.
And I actually really enjoyed that in this. I really enjoyed that they were just friends, and also I really enjoyed that they came from very different places, but they still were able to bond. Which again, that's not unusual for these films, but we're talking like 1,000-year-old demigod, young chieftain's daughter. So I do think that that bit of originality that they put in there really does help it to stand out. But the other thing that really helps it stand out is the animation.
Oh.
Which, yeah, when we left the theater and I asked you how you like it, you just said, that was beautiful. Like, you didn't even comment on, like, the plot or the characters or anything. It was like, no, the animation you went straight to. Yeah, this all looks gorgeous. Like, it made me want to go to these islands.
Yes.
And I've seen many things set in locations like this. This is the first one that really made it look that beautiful to me. I don't know why both Disney and Pokemon decided this November we're heading out to the Pacific Islands.
I think they realized by this point we need a vacation.
Yeah. They decided to wait until it got freezing cold outside and it was like, head off to the islands. But yeah, that is so weird that in the same week,
I know, right?
both of them were like, nope, Pacific Island time. But yeah, I love that they really delve into like the culture, into the mythology. And maybe actually want to look up a lot of the mythology that they mentioned in here and see like how much of it like they made up and how much of it actually comes from stuff in there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot in there as far as like the music goes, which the music in here is darn good.
Yeah.
I would say Frozen still had better music, but that's only because Let It Go knocked everything else out
like,
of the water.
Let It Go is like so memorable. That's the thing. That's the song that like sticks with everybody.
I remember when we were watching Frozen, I was like, these songs are okay, but none of them are that memorable. And then Let It Go started up, and I went,
wow.
fudge. Fudge. Like, I just sat there and was like, shut my mouth. All right, I'm wrong. I don't even remember any of the other songs in there. I remember the one that Anna sang in the beginning, but I was like, yeah, that's an okay song. But then after that, like, that one song was like, it was the Babe Ruth of that one. Is like, no one remembers anybody else who was on the Yankees at that time because they didn't need to. Babe Ruth just came in and knocked everything out of the park. So if you took that one song out of the equation, I think this one might have the best ones because the Away Away song and also the Welcome song. I thought was who knew Dwayne The Rock Johnson could sing? That man is just a talented dude. You remember back when Disney would have to hire different voice actors to come in just to sing because they were like, yeah, the voice actors we're hiring, they can't actually sing. And this one is like, I don't care if you're Dwayne The Rock Johnson and you've never sung before in your life, you're gonna learn to sing. He did a darn good job in that song. He did a great job just with Maui.
Oh yeah.
Maui is, I know this is like a stereotypical thing to say about a character, but he is larger than life.
But he's literally larger than life. He is a demigod.
But I mean, he is just so explosive with personality. Like, the second he gets on screen, it becomes the Maui show. Like, I feel like at times Moana very much gets overshadowed by him, but she's still there. Like, I'm not saying it's like I didn't care about Moana. It's like, no, Moana is a great character. I'm just saying it's next to impossible to compete with the character of Maui.
Like, basically, Moana is there to keep Maui grounded.
Very much so. But also, she's a great character.
Yes, she is. I'm just saying, like, next when she's teaming up with the Maui, it's like, hey, you need to get this done, and I'm here to make sure you do it.
Well, that makes it sound like she's, like, nagging him.
No,
it's like, Maui's like, hey man, I've been trapped on this island for 1,000 years. I finally got this boat, and you're telling me to go back to the place where they banished me for 1,000 years to return this gem? That ain't happening. I'm free. I'm going to get my hook. I'm going to go and get that back, and that's it for me. She's the one who's like, no, you screwed up. You're the reason why there's this plague going on. I'm going to hold you responsible. And it's like, yes. Good for you. Good for you.
Not naggy, but responsible.
Responsible, yes. Yeah, exactly. She is the mature one of the group. And she's also the one that keeps him from being an a-hole. I mean, because I love that Maui, when we first get introduced to him, he is like, no, I'm the hero of man. I gave you fire. I created islands. I did all this stuff. But after he's been trapped for 1,000 years, he's like, I don't care anymore. It's Maui time now. It's all about me. And she's the one who comes in and is like, you're the hero, all right? You want to be the hero? You want people to cheer you again? You need to do this. But I also enjoyed seeing, like, you know, as we said, it's a Disney film. You know that they're going to come together and they're going to bond. But I actually enjoyed the bonding process that we got in here. I actually thought it was done pretty well. Like, the fact that he had to teach her how to be a wave rider and how to steer her canoe. I was like, that's actually a really great way of showing the progression between their friendship being compared to how good she's getting at learning how to steer her canoe. Like, the better she gets, the more you understand that's the more that they bonded. I will say though, let's go back to the animation though, because we skipped over that for a second.
Yes.
Because everything's great as far as the animation goes, but one of the things I think that they do that's really unique is that, yeah, you've got the 3D animation, and they make the islands look gorgeous. They make the water look crystal clear. All the magical stuff is really creative. But one of the things I love is that Maui has got tattoos all over him, and one of his tattoos is just a little tattoo of himself, and it's constantly like emoting. It's constantly kind of like looking up at Maui like,
Sort of like his conscious.
yeah, very good, yes. His Jiminy Cricket, yes. That's exactly what it is. And it's being like, it exaggerates, it creates like new drawings to kind of like poke fun at Maui. And it's all 2D animated. Like, it's just a 2D animation on top of that. And it was like, wow, this really feels like a different style of animation just on the canvas of his body. And I think that that was a great, very memorable touch to this whole film. Like, that's one of those things that you will definitely remember about this. I wasn't that big a fan of the fact that they had to include the animal sidekick in this one, because we all saw that she's going to have a pig and a chicken. The pig they actually left on the island. The pig is gone after the first, like, 20 minutes of the movie, which I was like, well, then why even have him in there, except for the fact that the pig's adorable? And it's like, well, you're trying to sell toys.
Yeah, basically.
But the chicken in there, I'll get to the chicken in a second, but I don't think he was that necessary. But I was like, well, you need animal sidekick. But when you see this thing on him, I'm like, that's your animal sidekick. It's a non-human thing that's emoting and expressing itself without using actual human words. That's the equivalent of your animal sidekick. You don't need this chicken here the whole time. But yeah, that was gorgeous, and I love that when Maui had the You're Welcome song, it actually just breaks into 2D animation there, and he and Moana are like walking through a 2D animated world.
And they actually like interact, like they hold like literally like 2-dimensional items, like it's cardboard or something, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and like there was a moment in which he like gave her a lei, I think it was, and it was 2-dimensional, but he spins it, and like as it spins, it becomes a 2-dimensional object, so it disappears for a second. I was like, man, they actually had to 3D create 2-dimensional objects. This is really ingenious. I've always said that I think Disney has the better storytellers, but I think DreamWorks has the better animators. If I was going to make the argument against that, this would be the one Disney film. This and Wreck-It Ralph would be the Disney films I would bring up to go, no, this is why they're better. it's weird, like, because DreamWorks did Trolls, and don't get me wrong, this is definitely a better film than Trolls, but just thinking about the animation, Trolls was damn creative and came up with some really cool stuff and did amazing stuff with the animation. So I think I still have to sit here and go, I think I still gotta give it to DreamWorks as far as who has the best animators, but damn, this one, it competes. It is definitely a competitor as far as who has the best animators at their studio. Another thing that the animators did, this is going to be a mild, weird confession, but I kind of hate the water. I kind of hate going to the ocean and going like into the water. Partly because it's like I don't like sand, it's rough and coarse and gets everywhere, but you'll get that reference later. But also, I hate like salt water. I think that just going to the beach is a big pain. But also, I kind of think the idea of going too far into the ocean is terrifying. And there is a moment early on, the very first time that Moana tries to go out into the ocean, beyond the reef, in which her boat is going up against these giant waves and they're crushing down her. They're not even giant waves. They're like just medium-sized waves. And I remember being in the ocean and seeing those waves coming at me as like, oh, this is gonna suck. Oh, this is gonna hurt. It gave me that feeling, like, they captured that feeling. And when she goes under and she's like, has her boat like crushing towards her, like that's always been a huge fear of mine. The idea of being underwater and having something like coming down on top of you, because like you can't get out of the way of that no matter how fast of a swimmer you are, and like her foot gets caught in like a reef, and I was like, these are literally all the fears I have about going out into the ocean, and you are capturing it perfectly. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, they not only made the ocean look beautiful, they also came in and went, here's how we can also make it creepy. Like, they really were able to make every bit of their animation work on every level.
That's another thing I liked about this movie. It's like, basically the ocean chose Moana to bring the heart of the ocean back. And you'd expect, like, this anthropomorphized ocean to be friendly with her and everything, and it was with her at first when she was a little kid, but when she actually grows up and, like, actually takes a boat out into the ocean, that's when, you know, she gets messed up and gets stuck on the reef. And that's the thing, is like, you thought because she had a bond, she'd be able to, like, go out there with no trouble at all, but nope.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important lesson, that, like, the ocean can be your friend, but is also very dangerous.
Yeah, I like that the ocean, which they do, like, turn the ocean into a character in this film, which I think they did a good job with that. But I do agree with you that they also kind of went, yeah, this is still like a force of nature.
Yes.
This is still like something that they have to compete against, and there's a moment in which Maui came in and was like, hey man, the ocean doesn't do it for you, you gotta do it for yourself. It's like, yeah, you can't just go, hey, giant infinite deity that has blessed me, do all the work for me. It's like, no, it chose you because it knew that you could do this. So yeah, I think that they handled that well. Let's go into some of the other characters. First one I'll say is the chicken. Yeah, man, you didn't need that there.
No.
And like, there's the chicken, it's funny. There's good jokes with the chicken, but the chicken's joke is that it's stupid. It's basically like, it tries to eat rocks. You'll put, hey, person contacting me on my phone. Boop. Nope, not important. Okay. But like, it'll try and eat food that you put right in front of it, and it'll be pecking the wood right next to it. And it's like, okay, these are funny, but there is literally no reason for it to be here. And I was thinking of like all the other Disney animal sidekicks that we've gotten in the past couple films. All of them, like, at some point, like, serve a purpose. Mm-hmm. All of them have a reason to be there. I mean, like, spoiler for Tangled, but Pascal, like, is the one who actually does the witch in there at the end, isn't he? Like, he's the one who, like, pushes her off, isn't it? I could have sworn.
It's been a while since
It's been a while, but he did, like, something big there at the end. The horse in Tangled was...
Oh, yeah.
He was great. So was the reindeer in Frozen. The animal sidekicks were literally other characters in Princess and the Frog. So it's one of those where it's like, okay, these animal sidekicks each need to serve a role. In here, the chicken's stupid and does provide humor for that, but there is a moment in which, like, at the very beginning when we first see the chicken, and they're like, yeah, that chicken's really stupid. Why don't we just eat it? And she goes, hey, some of us need to find, like, I forget the exact line, but it was like, some of us need...
It's like, we all have something special inside, but it's like, sometimes it's just way, way, way down. That's
what it was, yeah. And I was like, okay, so they're trying to set up that this chicken is going to do something important, and it's going to be a major thing. The only thing even close to important that it did at any point is towards the end when she is racing off towards this on her wave rider, and like there's a moment where the stone gets away from her and it's about to fall into the ocean, and then the chicken reaches out and grabs it and brings it back over to her, and I was like, okay, well, it did that, but at the same time, literally anyone else on that boat, like
the pig could have done
it, or you could have just or you could have had her just lock it a little bit tighter so it didn't fall out.
Or the ocean could have picked it up and thrown it back.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but it's like, I kind of wanted the pig to come along and help it help face its fear of the ocean, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Because, because the pig went out with Moana on her first boat trip, and he ended up being terrified after getting knocked off the boat.
Yeah.
So I was hoping, like, he would, like, accidentally get smuggled, or, like, not smuggle, like, accidentally stow away.
Yeah.
And he just becomes, like, so scared of the ocean, but ends up facing his fears to help Moana.
That would have been way better than the chicken, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what I kept thinking they were going to do with the chicken is because the chicken keeps trying to eat rocks, and there is a moment where it actually eats the heart of the ocean, but then it immediately spits it back out again. I was like, I bet you what's going to happen here is there is going to come a moment in which the giant monster that's trying to grab the heart of the ocean thinks it's grabbed it up, before they're able to reach their destination, and then it looks and it can't find it, and it looks around and it can't find the heart of the ocean anywhere, and then you see that she's carrying the chicken with her, and then she gets there and the chicken spits out the stone. The chicken's able to hide the stone because we've been saying up throughout this whole film it likes to eat rocks. No, literally the chicken is only there for jokes, and it's like, this is definitely the weakest of your animal sidekicks that we've gotten. I will say though, I actually really like that out of so many of the other Disney princess films, in this one, both of her parents are alive.
Yes.
I love that you can actually understand why the chief is the way that he is, why he's like, no, you do not go out there. Like, because there are so many times that when they do have a father and the father's like, you don't do this, it's like, why? Well, because I don't like these things. It's like, no, and this is like, no, you will die if you go out there. Like, he's being serious about this. And I also like that you didn't get a lot from the mom, but there is a great moment in which Moana is quickly packing all of her stuff up to leave, and the mom sees her, and she's like, oh, the mom's gonna tell on her, and then the mom helps her pack up and like hugs her and sends her. I was like, okay, so the mom's portion. So I was like, we didn't get a lot of them, but we understood. However, the one family member who we did get a lot of was the grandma.
Yeah.
The grandma's the best character.
She is, absolutely.
Her and Maui are neck and neck for best character in this thing. Every line she has is funny, but also clever and also heartwarming. She's the one who conveys the story, but she's not there to just tell the story. Like, she really is the heart of her whole village. She just has the best responses to everything. Like, she's doing that thing that so many old characters in these types of movies do, where the protagonist is wondering something, and rather than telling them what they need to hear, they give them little like riddle speak because they need the protagonist to figure out themselves. And Moana is just like, why do you talk like that? And she goes, I'm the village crazy lady. That's why. I was like, she knows who she is. It's almost like she's in the audience and she knows who this character is, and she's commenting on this character.
Yeah, I felt like Maui was kind of the same way. It's like, I'm not here to babysit a princess, and Moana's like, I'm not a princess, and he's like, you're wearing a dress and you have an animal sidekick, you're a princess.
I love that line so much. I love that line so much because it was like the moment in which they were just like, yeah, we know what this is. Which I was thinking about, it hit me afterwards. Okay, so if the rules are you have a dress and you have an animal sidekick, that makes you a princess, that means Hercules is a princess.
I don't know if I consider what he has.
He had a skirt. It was close. Gotta give me that. Skirt, Pegasus, it's close. But yeah, it's like, wow, I love that Disney finally stopped and went, we know what this is. But yeah, so she was an amazing character and also just full of so much heart in there. But yeah, so I think that's most of the stuff that I wanted to cover. My only real problem, as I said, is that this is really formulaic. And I think we've gotten to that point in which it's like, okay, your next one needs to be different. Your next one can't be this same formula. For the next one, just don't even have like the male sidekick. Have it be her and, just a female friend go out there on an adventure, or, something. You just need something completely different at this point. Not completely different, because, the strong-willed female protagonist who is a princess and she has to go out on a big journey. Who the hell is contacting me at like 1 a.m. in the morning? But all the stuff about, like, the strong-willed female protagonist going out there on an adventure, that's all good. That works no matter what. But, everything beyond that, yeah, because it felt... The other big complaint I had is that there came a moment in which it was like, it really feels like you just gave up at one point in here, because it almost feels like you just turned the audience and went, you knew this was going to happen, because... I was sitting there, I was like, you know what? In all these films, there comes that moment right after the male and female character have bonded, where they have a big falling out, and it's the all is lost moment. They're not going to do that. And then they do it, because Maui's hook gets damaged in the fight after he tells Moana not to do something. And then he's like, if it takes one more hit, it's broken. I'm not doing this. You didn't turn around when I told you to. I'm out of here. And he just leaves. And she goes, well, I'm going to go and return the heart myself. And she goes in there, and she's now fighting the giant lava monster herself. She's coming up with great strategies of using her wave rider to get around. I was like, this is all amazing. And then Maui just shows up out of nowhere. He's like, hey, man, you got this. I'll take care of the lava monster. I was like, what on earth convinced you to come back? Like, we have not seen you at all after the falling out moment. It literally went from, I'm done. I'm not doing this. I'm back, kids. You got this. It's
Maybe
like,
his tattoo finally convinced him.
but it's like, we didn't see any of this. It's
No.
like, even like Han Solo in like that first Star Wars film where he just shows up there at the end, it's like, I kind of got a little bit of a feeling that he would be coming back. In this one, it was like, wow, you really like it. You weren't like I said, Han Solo was just like, hey man, I was just in this for the money. I was just in this for the money. Well, you know what? Look into your heart. You need to do this. Like, no, I'm not gonna do it. It's like, he's gonna do it. He's gonna look into his heart. And this one, it was like, I'm done. I'm out. Don't talk to me. We are through professionally. And then he just flies off. And then bam, he comes back. He's not upset. He doesn't like apologize. It's just like, we all knew this was gonna happen. We all knew I was coming back. You good with that? And it was like, that to me was the moment I was like, man, you guys are just leaning into that formula too much at this point. Because we knew he'd come back, but we don't see him like sitting on an island somewhere and his tattoo's trying to convince him to come back. He's not like sitting there watching her in danger and getting concerned. Like, oh man, I really do care. He's not like looking at like all of his great achievements and going, what happened to me? I used to be a hero and now I'm afraid to get my fish hook broken. It's like, no, it just pops back up. And don't get me wrong, the fight between him and the giant lava monster is amazing. I love the way that they resolved that, but it's like, yeah man, there is literally no setup for him returning other than, you guys know the formula, right? So yeah, I really enjoy this film, but I do feel like it's time for the Disney princess films to start getting a little bit different.
Right.
Yeah, I'd give it an A-. What about you?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, okay. So if you guys saw this, let us know in the comments down below how you felt about it. And as I said, I will be doing an official review of this in which I think about what I want to say a little bit more rather than just rambling here. I will also be recording it not at 1 a.m. in the morning, so I will be able to use my full-on speaking voice rather than my whisper shout voice. But thank you guys for watching this, and make sure that you come back next time.
Bye.